another John Wick movie. What more do I have to say? Well, I guess I have to do something for this review. So let's talk about it. The newest in the trilogy, John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum.
Time to get paid today.
Once again, returning star Keanu Reeves fits himself in a particular role. Once again, directed by Stahelski. What we have here is the aftermath of what happens in Part 2. This is a minor spoiler or major spoiler for Part 2. John Wick has committed the ultimate sin at the end of Chapter 2, where he spilled blood on continental grounds, where McShane, as Winston, has to put out a bounty on his head, but before doing so, gives him an hour to flee. And what we see here is the continuing growth of the League of Assassins, the High Table, who's in charge of everything. And this movie's really good. This is easily the best action movie of the year so far. We're only in May. But I have a feeling it will be by the end of the year. What we have here is world building without much explanation, and it doesn't step over. This isn't like the Transformers franchise where they make up lore that like completely contradicts shit that was in the other movies. This doesn't. This movie, you learn pieces, and I like the way that most of it isn't given to you in exposition dumps. Almost all the relationships are either told through people talking like they actually know each other, without sounding like, oh, I'm going to ask you a question so you can explain it to the audience watching. We even get a lot of backstory about John Wick in this very interesting way where you see them going through this house and you learn more about there are more families than just, or more crime syndicates than just the Russians from the first one. You have the main villain from Part 2, his crew. You find that there are more than Laurence Fishburne and his homeless people. And all of it feels really organic. You know, we go to another continental abroad. Halle Berry is really good in this movie. One of her action beat is an absolute tour de force, and not only that, it just goes to show you how much she was wasted in Kingsman 2. As a background scientist or nerd, whatever she was, but she gives it her all, and probably, I want to say, the second best fight scene in this movie. What this movie really is action beat, figure out where we go from next, action beat, figure out what's next, and then action beat. And it all worked pretty well. This movie is exhausting. I walked out of this theater and I was tired, but it's one of those tired's where if someone asks you, would you do it again right now, you would say, hell yeah. That's what type of experience this was, at least for me. Keanu Reeves was really good in this movie, as always. This movie is tailor-made for him. Chad Stahelski, who we all know was one of Keanu's stunt doubles in the Matrix trilogy, and this role is literally tailor-fit for Keanu, where he just doesn't have to give much dialogue. He just has to look weary and be a badass when the action scene comes. And when the action scenes come, they are wildly inventive. I can't imagine, like, from the opening fight scene to, and if you saw the trailer, all those scenes, the motorcycle scene, the horse scenes, are actually sprinkled throughout the movie. They don't all come in one wave. There's a knife scene that's awesome. The bike scene later on is amazing. The final fight scene, I like the way they put a nice twist on what's going on. And also they help their stuntmen out because the battle happens in a very, very Star Trek, red shirts, or, those bad guys that the Avengers are always beating up on in their movies, a very faceless way. And except here we take it the extra level. McShane back as Winston is absolutely hysterical. His character is one who's trying to play with conventions because he's being told this. what to do, and he's not used to it. A lot of the characters here are literally out for survival. Not only John Wick, because we have a new character into the franchise, the Adjudicator, who's coming down. She's basically the person who the High Council tells, hey, these people broke the rules. You go over there, you let them know they broke the rules, and this is the penalties that's going to be dropped down. And there are a lot of dropping down of freaking penalties in this movie. Also, a big shout out to a character by the name of Zero, who is played by Mark Dacascos, who is really good. I believe he's in the Raid movies. Here, not only does he bring the fight, but he also brings a really hot comedic edge. Like, he is outstanding in his role. I love the scenes where, much like in the second movie where Keanu Reeves and Common had to have a moment of silence, he has a moment of silence with John Wick, and he is so awkward, but he is so much fun at the same time. Laurence Fishburne is back as the Bowery King, and he is, this trilogy of movies, it's hard to say whether people are hamming it up or having fun or being authentic. Laurence Fishburne is somewhere in that range, because you can tell he is having a blast. If there was anything I can say bad about the movie, it's one of two things. One, I felt like the action scenes, while exhilarating and while absolute fun, they could have been trimmed down a hair, because it was absolutely exhausting. But I got to meet Stahelski earlier this week, and he was like, that's what we wanted, and they succeeded in that. I don't know if it should have been done though, but that's a minor quibble. The bigger quibble is the ending. Non-spoilers, well, I'm going to try to do a spoiler review later. I don't know if I'm on board with how it ended. It got a little Fast and the Furious, it got a little ridiculous, but it didn't stop this movie from being really enjoyable. I had a great time. I think you'll have a great time. If you like the first two, you'll definitely love this movie. I'm going to go see it in 4DX so I can get thrown around like I did in part 2. Yeah, so I know it comes out next week, and a lot of people saw it last weekend. I saw it 2 weeks ago as of this taping, so I'm very lucky for that. So I have to give it a score, 9.6. I love this movie. This is probably my second favorite movie of 2019 so far. So that's my review for John Wick Chapter 3 Parabellum. What a long title. In case you didn't notice, I got myself a Continental shirt. Got a Continental Experience bag from when I met Mr. Stahelski. I didn't meet Keanu though. Damn, what a disappointment. Oh well. There's always next time. Maybe. Alright. So yeah, that's my review for for John Wick. Let me know in the comments below. Do you plan on seeing it? Did you see the first two? Let me know what you thought about it. And I will talk to you later with another review. Bye.
Just